Welcome, Soul Family, to Starcaster Radio. This is Jules, and I have Erica and Naomi here with me today. And we are so excited to share this beautiful time as we step up onto the New Earth platform, creating heaven on earth. And I am going to start by reading this little passage, and we're going to go ahead and keep the recording of the Tree of Life activation at the bottom of the page when you receive this email. So if you would like to continue with that, it is right there for you, and I encourage you all to do so. So I'm just going to do a little reading out of Transcendence. The key to life are the pyramids of light that live inside of everything. Evolution can be programmed to a higher level through the eye of God. You can rise up to a higher vibration at any time. Pyramid light is a central form of all evolution. The hydrogen atom controls the spin, the orientation of everything in our universe. The pyramid is the gateway of the stars and fuses space, time, and matter. The Star of David is a pyramid on top of a pyramid and is a life-giving form. Okay, Erica, did you want to go ahead and share the star forecast with us?
Yeah, so for everyone that's not familiar, we are in a Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde is in Scorpio, which is the sign of relationships, death, and passion. And so what's interesting is we had entered it at the end of October, and it goes through a 3 to 4 week cycle, and it'll continue through the month of November. And so a lot of people give Mercury retrograde a negative connotation, when in reality, it should be viewed as a time to reflect, revisit, reassess, and review. But also be aware of any kind of technical glitches, electronic communication mishaps, computers, software, anything that is going to be on an electrical grid. You're going to have some hiccups, and that can be frustrating. That can be a little bit third dimensional because it makes you stop and redo everything, but it's okay. Like it's supposed to be the time of miscommunication and misunderstanding, because it just simply means that we need to slow down and take it all in. So what retrograde means is just essentially a planetary slowdown. It's not going backwards, it's just slowing down. So even though we're experiencing these hiccups and delays, we can actually go through it with greater clarity. So maybe when something does a hiccup, or if you're having a technical difficulty, if you will, when you take a step back to review and reassess, maybe you find a more efficient way for it to work. Maybe you find a different way, or a review way that is almost new to you, but you should have known it the whole time. It's just kind of one of those things where it just kind of like, oh, I get it now. It just kind of makes sense that way. So this retrograde actually has the power to heal us from the past, because it's assisting us in letting go and getting closure, especially on past relationships. Because again, we're in Scorpio, and Scorpio is based on relationships and death and passion. So that doesn't necessarily mean a physical death. That just means a closing of a chapter. So if there are things that have been bugging you, or things that have been letting you be hurt, it's time to let go of those hurts, to forgive, and to move forward. So it's important that as we move through a Mercury retrograde, we're not jumping to assumptions, we're not jumping to conclusions, but instead we're listening to the entire story. We're getting the facts, we're reviewing, we're reflecting, and we're assessing. So Mercury also represents ideas and plans and attitudes. And so that's why it's attached to the communication, because it gives our thoughts an actual pattern to communicate. So a lot of times people are like, oh, don't sign this contract, or don't do this, or don't make any big purchases or big decisions. And that's not essentially what it's that's not what we mean. That's a negative connotation. That's a fear-based connotation. What essentially it just tells you is just to review, take your time, slow down, understand everything that you're doing, and then make a decision accordingly. So it's not something to be feared. It's just that we move on a daily basis so fast. We just jump from next step to next step to next step. So this time, during a Mercury retrograde, it just asks you to slow down a little bit and just to take your time and really make a decision based on your thoughts and your review of everything and the reassessment of everything. So it's not something to be feared. It's not negative. It's just something where it requires you to slow down. And because we're entering into a winter solstice, it's the perfect time to slow down and reassess anyways. So that's our astrology forecast for the next week and actually 3 weeks.
Mm. Gosh, thank you, Erica. You know, I just randomly opened the keys to just do a very short reading, and I feel like this is so in alignment. I mean, it always is, but so in alignment with what the Starcast is. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and read this really quickly here. The key to the end of our consciousness time zone is the violation of the spectra of color codes in the geometry of radiations, which will explode gel forming capillaries. For this reason, the host of the living light comes to deliver those who are living under and within the light of righteousness. So I feel like that's, just kind of closing the door
Mm-hmm.
on, those thought patterns that we maybe were stuck in, and really opening the door to this next phase of where our consciousness will take us in human evolution.
And we're walking away from fear-based mentality, right? Because a lot of times when planets intersect or they retrograde, people automatically take a fear-based connotation with it. And that doesn't serve us anymore. That doesn't work in our fifth dimension, in our New Earth platform. It's a positive, not suffering journey. It's a very enlightening journey. It's a joyful journey. So as we reassess the planets and as we reassess astrology, it's amazing how we can embrace it with joy and excitement and enlightenment instead of the past archaic ways of fear.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I always kind of remind just our soul family is that this journey is joyful. And if you're not enjoying the journey, it's time to just stop and ask yourself why, and then ask yourself if you agree with that. And, because I feel like we were taught that ascension has to be painful and that we have to go through all these old programs and work through them. And, and there is something about feeling to healing, but a feeling is just a feeling, and we can fully feel a feeling, and on the other side is joy. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that we have moved past the need to suffer in order to ascend. So Naomi, you're so amazing at
Ah,
asking for clearings. Will you do a clearing for us with that?
okay, I would love to. So, standing on the New Earth platform, let's really work inside of astrology in the Mercury retrograde. Let's just allow the energies to slow down and reassess. Let's allow those energies to come in and just present themselves to us. And if we could just release or surrender our fear-based programs, and although maybe it may hurt a little bit to release it, on the very other side of that is joy and love. And so we, in this Mercury retrograde, we release the fear so that we can realign ourselves in love, pure love.
Mm. Oh, I just feel that vibrating all the way through my
Yeah.
body.
I am too. And I just have to say, when Erica was speaking of the astrology, just the tone of her voice, it was just downloading me already. And Erica, you're such a gift. I just have to tell you this. What you said was like so powerful, and I needed to hear it.
Oh, I love that.
Whew.
And Julie, I keep getting that I need to share. A feeling is just a feeling, and a feeling can move through the body in less than 30 seconds. Anything over 30 seconds is the ego.
Mhm.
Wow.
That, and I think that what makes us like attached to a feeling is the density in our body from creating a story over and over again about a feeling. So it's not even about the feeling, it's about the story that we attach to it. And I think that that's what I mean when I say, well, do I agree with this? Like, do I agree with this story anymore? Like, this story is creating my reality, and is this truly the reality I want to be creating? And it's really as simple as yes or no, and then interrupting the story by becoming the observer. And at that point, we can still observe the feeling moving through, and we may still feel the intensity of it, and we may even hear the story in the background, but we're not agreeing with the story anymore.
Wow.
And because we're in Scorpio and we're focusing on relationships, it's really important to look at relationships and to understand if you're coming from a base of love or if you're hurt because of a story attached to that relationship. And if that's the case, if you're attaching a hurt to a story that was in that relationship, like it's important to let go of that, to forgive and to embrace it with love and to move on. That's how you do it in the fifth dimension. The more you stay attached to that story, the hurt that you're feeling doesn't allow that relationship to grow and flourish to become one.
Absolutely. And it's funny because Naomi and I were talking yesterday about forgiveness. And what we identified is when we are struggling to forgive, it's because we are resonating in the frequency of the person that we're having trouble forgiving, and not necessarily them and their frequency, but the frequency of what happened that is keeping us from forgiving. We're remaining in that reality. And in order to forgive, we need to raise in frequency. And, this is something that I've always played with,
Mm.
is to enter what I call the God particle, or the first particle of existence, in order to forgive. Because at that point, there isn't any state of consciousness but oneness. And you kind of move past the ego mind that is having trouble forgiving, and can fully move into oneness where forgiving is so easy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, that's so beautiful and so articulate. I did a little bit of writing on forgiveness, Julie, after you and I talked, and I'd love today just to close with that whenever we close.
Oh my gosh, beautiful. I would
Yeah.
love I would love that. I just feel like that forgiveness energy, and that's something that we can even do for ourselves, because I think it's so many times that, the forgiving of ourselves is almost harder than to forgive others, because we are so hard on ourselves. And that energy of just shame is something that
Yeah.
is just, we're really moving beyond that frequency altogether as we create our new earth reality. So I again, Naomi, I'm going to pass this over to you, and I would love it if you could do a clearing for us around the frequency of shame, just clearing the frequency of
Mm.
shame.
Oh gosh, I would love to. Okay. So, standing on the New Earth platform, just stand on this golden New Earth platform, gold being the highest conductor of energy, and the New Earth platform holding oneness, and you being the building block of a star. And so you're standing on this New Earth platform, and your toes are just, it's just over the ocean, and your toes are just dangling over the water, and you just feel the waves bringing you into the rhythm of the earth, and you just surrender. Um surrender in your soul memory, tracing all the way back to the first particle of existence. Just surrender the feeling of shame. And what we would like to do, we're surrendering the feeling of shame, and we're asking the Council of Light to download us with the ability to forgive ourselves, so we can clear shame all the way into the God particle. Clear shame for ourselves, for humanity, and clearing shame for the entire earth of the stagnant energy that that needs to be cleared for the earth, so that the earth can be a platform of heaven for all. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
That was beautiful.
I feel lighter.
Yeah, I mean, shame is such a dense energy. I feel lighter too. And as you were doing that, Naomi, I just saw all these like different, like the rainbow light just coming in, and it almost like shattered my heart and just allowed it to move into even a higher frequency. And as that happened, it was connecting to like, it was like in my mind or in my brain, I had all these electric shocks going. And it's so funny because I feel like we're physical beings, and as we start to move past these lower states of consciousness, we're truly recreating our organs in our brain to being almost like brand new organs and brains.
Yeah, like I feel my synapses rewiring.
Yes. Yes.
Which is a very loopy feeling.
Yeah, it's beyond words. Like my mind is kind of shut off.
That I'm just like getting this message from the Council of Light that um to just start to be more and more comfortable with the upgrading that's coming in, and the more we can just release the story and the I guess those denser vibrations, the easier the shift will be. And I'm getting that this shift of creating the new human is coming in stronger than it ever has before. And what I guess I mean by that is that I'm getting that for many of us, we will experience the new human in this lifetime.
That gave me full body chills.
Oh, me too.
And it's so exciting. And I'm also seeing that, uh, there's almost, as the shift is happening, there's almost going to be like multiple realities where we all are experiencing the reality, but we're experiencing multiple realities at the same time. And I guess what I mean by that is that we will have contact with people that are still living the third dimensional life, but then we will also have the reality of the new earth reality, or the new earth life. And both are true. And what we're being asked to do is to not be attached to either one, to not be like, oh, well, I only want my new reality life and I want to let go of the third dimensional life. Is that both are happening at the same time, and for us to just be fluid as we move through both and not have a story or an attachment to either one.
And that's the true definition of the power of now, because you're not attaching to the past, and the future is unknown. So that is truly living in the now.
Which for me is, to live in the now and to live in oneness is to live an eternal life. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really what, my passion is creating a frequency within my body and in the body of others, that we can experience that state of consciousness with ease just by connecting to the frequency of it. Would it be too much to ask for a download around that, Naomi?
Well, you know what? Okay, I just pulled up just a little segment of the writing, The Constellation of God, and I would love just to read it because it goes along with the frequency is what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, please.
Okay. So just ground yourself on the New Earth platform. You are safe and protected inside the womb of light. Breathe and let go. Ride the perfect wave and allow the movement to energetically position your chakra system to receive divine light intelligence that transcends the holy makeup. So we can just let go of the ego and allow this perfect wave to just position us so that we can receive the divine light intelligence that transcends us.
Amen. It is so. And to just dance in that energy, like it just makes me just bubble up with joy.
Yeah, I'm smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, so I think that, our homework for this week is connecting to this joy and just like starting to choose what in our life we agree with and what in our life we don't agree with, and start asking ourselves is, what parts of our reality do we want to, continue to experience, and then where do we need to start choosing something different, and just holding space for these higher frequencies to come in without attachment to needing it to be a certain way, but just knowing that the higher frequency is always there for us to connect to.
I'm in.
Yeah, I love that.
Wow. Well, Naomi, was that the writing that you wanted to close with, or did you have
Yeah,
something else you wanted to share?
there's one more little piece that it would be my honor to
Oh
share.
my gosh, please do. I think it's just I feel like this is just the perfect frequency
Yeah.
to come to an end. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. So, standing on the New Earth platform, we connect our heart to the heart of our ascended masters. We ask Jesus for a download, allowing our heart the capability to forgive as he does. Jesus overlays the grid of his heart on top of the grid of our heart. The vibration of the Om is created inside his heart. Jesus offers the vibration to me. I drink the Om vibration as a holy Eucharist, and the vibration enters every cell, molecule, and fiber of my DNA. The flower of life template holding my DNA begins to rotate to the right, with the earth traveling around the sun. In the flow, our flower of life opens and enters the grid of Christ, and our DNA awakens to the DNA we share with Jesus. The flower of life template is anointed by the heartbeat of Jesus, clearing all density within the heart space. We receive a pure heart and mind. Rejoice. You are welcomed home to Christ consciousness with Jesus and the Council of Masters. It is so.
Thank you. I love you. It is done.
It is done. Well, until next time, let's all create our new earth reality and know that this possibility is already happening because we are becoming the new human. Sending you all a big hug and lots of love. Namaste.
Namaste.
Satnam.